Ever see an oil painting or an acrylic painting where it's got a lot of texture, the paint is thick, and you wish you could do that with pastel? Yes, you can get that with pastel. This is pastel on canvas. I'm pastelist Avon Waters, and my channel is dedicated to helping you guys not make some of the same mistakes I did. Today, we're working with Impasto. Making pastels have the appearance of impasto. You know, impasto is that little rough area that when you paint, you do oil paintings, you put the paint on thick, and the shadows created and the relief created puts some interest in certain sections of the painting. So that's what this is how to simulate in pastel, dry medium, impasto. Impasto is something that the entire painting in acrylic and oil could have, or it could just be a section, and typically the impasto is in the highlights. So how do we get that with pastel? Can you get that with pastel? Yes, you can get that with pastel. This is pastel on canvas, and you don't need to do it on canvas. This is a 20 by 24. That's what I'm working on today. I have already put an underpainting on it. It's I sprayed it with some alcohol, and I used alcohol to create some drips and things. They appear to be dry. I'm using this modeling paste by Golden. I use it a lot when I'm trying to impersonate impasto. I'm mixing with it some clear gesso. It has pumice in it. The modeling paste does not have pumice, so with a little experimentation you can see how much, depending on how much you want to use. You want to add it into it and stir it up really, really well so that you, when it dries, you have some tooth. The actual impasto, or I keep calling it impasto like antipasta, the impasto will have a tooth, but you want to make sure that you have enough tooth in it if you want to add and layer colors over the top of it. As I said, this is just an underpainting, and we're going to apply it with different tools. The small palette knives are great for trying to follow some of these drips and runs. But once I add these things together, just from a little trial and error and experience, you'll figure out what kind of consistency you want. Plus, my modeling paste has gotten a little dry, and adding clear gesso to it and mixing it up kind of rejuvenates it. We'll stick some in this cup, stir it up, and get started. Sometimes I mix too much, sometimes I don't mix enough. It's really not that sensitive. You can see how thick that is. I've got to really dilute that thing down with some clear gesso in order to make it usable and spreadable. If you want something really, really thick, you can use it that thick and then put a little gesso over the top of it after it dries. So you can play with the consistency of what's right for you. This particular painting, I am not wanting a lot of thick texture. I have gotten textures that are 1/8 of an inch or higher in some of the highlights. And when you do that, you've got to be prepared to grind in some of the colors and color hues that you want in those particular areas. Just be aware as you work with this stuff, it's not a formula. It's not something you just got to kind of go by feel. There, you can see it's not quite as thick, but it's still pretty thick. It'll stick to the knife. Now, this is just an underpainting, and at this particular point, I am trying to just in the highlight areas that my underpainting kind of informs a little bit of where I'm going to put this. I want some of the brighter highlights in this area that I'm filling in now. And then there's going to be some of these streaks, and I'm going to follow those down, and I might use a smaller palette knife for those areas. And you just build it up, and the key here is to feather it off onto the sides before you're done, before it all dries. This modeling paste takes a while. It'll take overnight to dry, but so you don't have to work as fast as you would if you were just using clear gesso. But I keep applying to these highlights, and I keep trying to build up some of these areas that I know are going to be the lightest part of this painting. You won't see this finished painting, but I will apply some of the pastel here once it dries overnight, and I'll show you what that's like. This is an abstract landscape, and I'm thinking that some of these yellow trees might be sticking up in front of some trees in the background before this thing's finished. So everywhere the light is hitting some of these branches out is where that's going to be the lightest and where I want some of that impasto. There I go, thinking of pasta again. I'm putting on some of the heavier areas first. I can build those up. And as I said earlier, if you just put it in one place too thick and then you don't feather it out, in your finished painting it could stick out like a sore thumb. So I try to work my way out later on and smooth or gradually lessen some of the highest points to kind of blend in with some of the texture that I might have from the underpainting. Just to remind you, this is a 24 by 24. I have done a wash on it with alcohol, and then I've used my alcohol to load up the brush, put it in a few places, and let some of these drips happen. So I'm following those drips right now, trying to create little specular highlights with pastel later on. Okay, I just kind of keep doing this over and over until I get all the highlights done, and then I'll start the next process of feathering this out a little bit. You might not have noticed, but I switched to the thinner palette knife. I've got various size palette knives. You could use the side of a big palette knife. You could use the end of a brush and brush it on. I've done all sorts of different things. Again, this is a technique that I can show you what I do, but until you actually get hands-on and you experiment with this some, you're maybe not going to have success the first time, but it is really, really worth it for you to try this, because it really separates your paintings from what the ordinary person or pastelist is doing. So this can take your paintings to the next level. Hear that scraping? That scraping is me leveling out some of those places and making not quite as high as the highest point in that area. That's that feathering I was talking about. If you try this, take your time. There's no big rush. It dries overnight, like I say, but take your time to try to think about, kind of pre-visualize what you want this piece to be like. Pre-visualize where you're going to feather out some of the highlights into middle tones. And that's where, when you hear me scrape this brush a little bit, and you hear that scraping, that's me trying to feather out those edges towards the middle tones. Again, I'm not going to take this painting to finish. This video is all about how to create impasto and some of the techniques I use and some of the tools, how to mix up and use the mediums. So we'll see what this thing looks like. But everywhere I put this on, in a minute, or everywhere I put this on, when that dries, you know, it looks a little milky right now, but when it dries, it's going to darken the value of those highlights. So you've got several options here as a painter. If you know you're going to put the impasto and the modeling paste and the gesso into those areas and it's going to darken, you could try to overcompensate and go 1 or 2 values higher for that yellow. In this case, I'm using yellow. You could go 1 or 2 values higher and it'll be almost white. And then when it dries, you'll just adjust the values a little brighter, a little darker here and there. But you'll see it goes down a couple value grades when I show you this the next day. Those value grades I will go back into. I don't like to try to, sometimes I do, but I don't like to try to guess and overcompensate and put a lighter value on my underpainting, knowing that these things are going to dry 2 or 3 values darker. What I like to do is, because I use such a yellow, and the paste and the gesso makes it go darker, when I use that texture and I go back over it, you'll see this next day when I go back over it, you'll see how some of those darker areas poke through. And remember in the beginning I talked about how the light casts shadows? Well, this is part of the trickery we pastelists use. When that gesso goes darker and the model paste goes darker, and then we go back over it the next day with these brilliant light colored, light valued hues of yellow. Because the yellow is darker, it almost looks like it's a yellow that you've mixed up that is a shadow yellow. And so you're actually tricking the eye, not just with shadows because there's relief, but you're tricking the viewer's eye because those yellows will appear like they've been grayed, and they really have been grayed. But it's not grayed because of the texture so much. It's grayed because of the materials have darkened a couple values. So you really get some interesting textures. In case you're wondering what that little blue tab is to the right, that little blue tab is where I always put a piece of tape on there when I hang it on the wall, or I've got it stacked up. I don't have to go measure what size this thing is when I get ready to frame it. It'll tell me that it's 24 by 24, and I also already assigned an inventory number on there. So there's a little helpful hint. And this is all free, guys. I'm giving you this stuff free. If you want to help keep stuff free on this channel, please, please, please consider going into the description, and there's a link to buy me a coffee. A little bit goes a long way. So anybody who wants to help out, it's appreciated. These lights and this camera and the video mixing and the editing materials, they don't last forever, and I got to replace some of this stuff. So as long as I can keep giving you free content, I will. And donations are certainly helpful. So if you appreciate this, let me know. Now, in some of these, what could end up being tree trunks, you know how the bark catches a little light? I'm just putting a little of this modeling paste on just a few of those, so that if I want to skim across there with a lighter pastel and create maybe some light on the edge of a bark, I've got that option. I don't have to, but I've got that option because I've applied the modeling paste there. I've turned off one light here, hoping that we can get some shadows created across some of the texture. See, after this is dried, we're getting some impasto, and that these raised areas, now the area that I placed the modeling paste on has darkened, but that just informs me of where to go back in and put those bright yellow hue highlights. And this area, if you'll notice when I put the paste on, I'm wanting the space between, this might be something off in the distance, and I'm wanting these drips to come forward, and the space behind, I put texture in some of those spaces so that I could put a lighter hue or a lighter value over those areas and create some impasto off into the distance. This is the 1/3 area. So this could very well ultimately, when this piece is done, turn out to be a center of interest. And where there's highlights and things in oil painting and acrylic, we have impasto. And so that's why I put some into some of these dark areas in addition to these highlight areas. Zoom in here a little bit, and now you can see maybe some better areas. This is the impasto, this is the modeling paste, and this is where those highlights can go back over. So you can really see how just a little bit of modeling paste and the darkness of where it turned dark, and putting these various different values of the yellow hue over it, that it simulates that the texture and the roughness that you would get with a pastel. I'm not with a pastel. It simulates the roughness and the texture that you would get with acrylic and oil impastos. Well, until next week, I'll have something else for you, but hopefully you got something out of that, and that you can try this and experiment with it. It takes a little practice, a little patience. You get too much impasto or the modeling paste in one area and you don't feather off the edges, it sticks out like a sore thumb. But it is worthy, it is worth the time and effort to really create something different. And that texture, a lot of people are drawn to the texture, and as an artist, I really love texture, whether I'm oil painting, acrylic painting, or pastel painting. So take care, everybody, and if you're liking the content of the videos, down in the description there's a link to buy me a coffee. That'll help me keep these videos free and keep them coming. All right, take care. Bye-bye.